Hello everyone, I'm back here today to review another Bachmann model. This time, Bachmann Emily. I'll be taking a very detailed look at this magnificent model, showing you every curve and corner of this beautiful engine. I'll even take a look at her coaches, too. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing you might notice about my Bachmann Emily is that she's not a standard Bachmann Emily. I repainted her buffers brass to match those seen originally in the television series. Bachmann Emily's buffers were silver originally, as seen in the new and CGI series, but I feel the brass buffers she wore in Season 7 much better suit her livery than the silver ones she wears today. Overall, Emily's a magnificent model, and there's not one flaw I can find with her. Her face is a perfect match of that seen originally in the television series, and she has spectacular separately fitted features such as a whistle and safety valve. There are two things that disappoint me with Bachmann Emily, however, these being her cab interior and her tender. There is no room in the interior of her cab for a crew to stand, much less any inside detail. This is to hide the motor that powers Bachmann Emily. There's also no room on the tender footplate for a crew either. Instead, just an undetailed green block. The only problem I have with her tender is the middle wheel is flanged. This causes it to come derailed very often and very easily on sharp turns. One thing I noticed about Bachmann Emily is that her single is powered as well as one of her bogies in the front. This is likely to provide extra traction needed to pull the engine along. Emily's coaches are spectacular representations of those used in the television series. The only flaw I can find in these coaches is the lack of cream lining around the windows and doors. Unlike Bachmann Emily's tender, her coach's middle wheel is flangeless. This helps it navigate round, tight curves with ease. Another thing I find strange about Emily's coaches is that they have no front coupling hook, just like Annie and Clarabelle. All Bachmann rolling stock, except for the brake van, seem to feature some sort of molded coupling. It's strange that the brake van, Annie and Clarabelle, and Emily's coaches do not. That's about all I have to say for Emily looks-wise. Now let's give her a run. Emily isn't the fastest Bachmann model, but she's fast enough. You never see her running very fast in the television series anyway. Here she is, racing round my old train set. Now Emily faces her worst enemy, the hill. You can see here that Emily struggles to get even halfway up this hill with her coaches. This can be directly attributed to the lack of motorized wheels on Emily. Despite having one of the bogies motorized, it still is enough to pull her up the hill. You can see here that the hill isn't incredibly steep and Emily isn't even halfway up. You can see here that all the other engines in the Bachmann range that I own make it up the hill with ease. Except for Percy. Also note that they are all carrying the exact same load. This is one area where Emily fails to meet my expectations. If Bachmann were to redesign their Emily model, I'd highly suggest adding traction tires. Then I decided to test Emily's strength. I decided to load the flatbed with the heaviest thing that I could find that would fit. So, Gordon's gonna go for a ride. Emily pulls away despite the heavy load. This surprised me after seeing her feeble attempts at climbing the hill. Since this proved too easily for Emily, I decided to load her up with every rolling stock item that I could find except for some coaches. With Gordon in the front, she pulled the train easily. But oddly enough, when I switched Gordon to the back of the train, she struggled to pull it at all. Once she got moving, she seemed to have no trouble at all, but her speed was greatly reduced. Her wheels slipped fiercely when she rounded corners, however. That's about all I have to say for this model. Visually, she's almost flawless, except for the slight livery error on her coaches. This doesn't, however, draw away from the overall models. The separately fitted features look incredible. This is one area I think Bachmann does very well for most of their models. Her face is a perfect representation of that scene originally in the television series, and really catches the eye. What can I say? I love this model, and I'd highly recommend her to any Thomas & Friends modeler.